So this is the agenda. We've done the introductions, improved user experience, 256 files, 1,000 WebDirect users. So just a quick side note, if you want a copy of the presentation, just shoot me an email, joshua@neocode.com. I'll send you a recording and I'll send you the PowerPoint. So 1,000 WebDirect users. This is the FileMaker version that we work in. So go into layout mode. I can do the development in here. And then this is the WebDirect version. So I'm in Chrome. I can be on an Android. I can be iOS. I can be Linux. I can be anything. So we can distribute our applications to anybody everywhere. So we can have internal users. We can have clients. We can have vendors. It's wide open. And of course, that makes the user experience so much better because we can get feedback from clients. We're using this right now to get clients to approve our work orders. You can do surveys or even inspections. So for example, if you're loaning equipment, you can create equipment loan forms or what we call inspection results. So is the equipment damaged or whatever, or staff could put in requests for vacations. And the new version has a huge performance boost. They've upgraded the engine underneath WebDirect, and it's so much faster. So users are loading web pages better. Clients don't even notice that they're using FileMaker WebDirect. Whereas in the past, FileMaker was a little bit, slow, and it didn't meet end users' production experience. So like when you visit other websites, you feel it's snappy. And so now people don't notice, they don't notice that. The FileMaker WebDirect sessions are snappy. So this is key about improving the user experience. And we have some clients that exclusively distribute their solutions. So there's a group between like UBC and Children's Hospital, CFRI. They do adverse drug reactions on children, and they collect DNA data from across Canada. That application is exclusively done on WebDirect. One of our clients is CanDeal. They're the 6 major banks on the Toronto Stock Exchange. 50 user auction, bidding on bonds, hundreds of millions of dollars, all done in WebDirect. It's a great product. And so this is how we can deliver 1,000 users, is we have lots of boxes. So if you're ever planning on scaling your app, FileMaker is ready, and we can make hundreds of users satisfied. So the next thing they've done is they've improved security. So the first 4 are things that have already been built in. So integrating with Active Directory or Open Directory for Mac, or if you guys use Amazon or Google or Azure, we can integrate all your users and groups in there. So PHSA is using Active Directory, and we can integrate with that. What's new is they've added support for the latest version of SSL, and this send mail OAuth is what's needed for FileMaker to send mail directly using Google, like Gmail, or Office 365. So if you have any of those, FileMaker can send email directly just with the click of a button. We can use a script step, and we can send. The old version was SMTP, but for security purposes, all the major platforms have moved to this new standard. The most exciting one that like all of our enterprise clients have, wanted, and we've had to use a plugin. So before there was a plugin for doing auditing. So for Stacy Miller at Children's, we have a plugin that does the auditing. But now with this version, we can do auditing built into FileMaker. So if users, like for healthcare, we have to log, certain things, who's viewed it, who created it. We just have to, record that. That's the privacy department requires it. And FileMaker is now able to do that natively. So this next screen just shows us exactly what we can get. A record's created, updated, deleted. So we still don't get views. So if you needed the views, we still have to use this other plugin for that. But we're able to avoid doing the views. So the children's like privacy, we were able to skip that because it creates like, in 1 year, we have 9 gigs of, data logged for a department of 5 people. So it is quite big, and they were happy with not having to have the views. So that's enhanced security. Any questions so far about anything, any of the slides that have come up? So now on to the new, what we get with FileMaker, with FileMaker 20. So Clara Studio is now integrated with FileMaker 2023. FileMaker 2023 makes it easy to trigger flows in Claris Connect. So Claris Connect is, I'm going to touch on that. It has its own slide, but it makes it easier to pick. Perform script on server with callback. So one of the things, Danielle and Vicky, that we've been doing is we've been using that perform script on server, and we've just been waiting. We can wait or ignore. So if you're running a big report, it's going to be, chugging along. But if you upgrade to version, 20, when it's done, the server can run a script on your desktop, and it can pop up and say, Vicky, your report's finished, come and get it. Or it can say, would you like to go and view the report that's finished? Click OK and go to view the report. So that's that's a nice thing, because some of these steps that you're getting to run on the server are big, and we want them to happen in the background, but as soon as they're done, we want to know. And this allows us to do that. Another really amazing thing is layout calculations. So basically, these are functions that no longer require scripting. So in the past, if you wanted to put something on a layout that had dynamic data, you'd either have to create a field that would have the calculation, or you'd create a script that had the calculation. And now we can skip all that, and we can just leave it on the layout. And that just gives us, one more tool when we're building layouts. And they've updated it to work on Intel and ARM. So the Mac new processors are ARM, and Amazon and Google and Microsoft now all have ARM processors that you can rent from them. So now I'm going to just show you this Clara Studio and FileMaker 2023 integration. So here we go. So I've already logged into Clara Studio. So we are expecting a free tier for Clara Studio. So it's coming soon. So we're expecting it. At the moment, it's not available, but you can sign up. But I'm going to give you, you can buy it now. We do own it, so I'm going to show you what it looks like, and in the future it'll be available for you as well. So basically, I'm going to go into developer mode. You can think of it as an online building environment. So it's web-centric. You develop on the web, you use it on the web, you program it on the web. You can do everything. It's like a fast database, rapid application development environment built for the web first, with a connection to FileMaker and with the connection to Claris Connect. So I've already built this kind of, I called it the year-end party planner, and just, okay, Marita. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you what it looks like. So this is a project planner that I created with a single click, and I'll show you how to do that after I just give you some demos. So let's go make my thing wider. So just like FileMaker, you can create databases quickly and easily. Claris Studio allows you to do all that on the web. So I'm in the developer mode right now, and we get a form view of the data. We can get a spreadsheet view of milestones, tasks, a Kanban view like Trello, and a project planning view. And all of this data that you're looking at that you can build on the web, you can pull into FileMaker. So I've just created a sample blank FileMaker file, and I've linked it, and we can see all the data that's in Clara Studio inside FileMaker. So you can keep it in a separate file, or you can link it into your existing FileMaker files. So again, this is about improving the user experience. So you want to do a poll, where should we have our Christmas dinner? You can quickly build something like this quick. You wouldn't want to build that in FileMaker, too much work, but building it in here, it's a piece of cake. So now if I want to create a new hub, so I might call this poll. And you create a hub, which is basically like a web page, like a home page, like a starting place. And then we can add a new view. And just move this up so you can see it. So you can see the kinds of views that you can get already. It's extremely rich out of the box. So FileMaker's done a ton of work. All you have to manage is the tip of the iceberg. And all this stuff like Kanban views, list views, timelines, things that would be extremely difficult to build in FileMaker, you can now do, with a few clicks in 5 minutes. A lot of people love to have calendars. I don't know why that's not showing up. Oh, maybe it's just slow. So here you pick the data for view, you're picking the table, and it creates the tables for you. So what I wanted to show you was I can create a starter view. And this is the year-end party planner. This is what I did. It automatically creates all these views for me, and it creates the associated tables behind the scenes. So this is a great way to do simple project management in FileMaker with your existing license, with your existing team, with your existing users, and pull the data that you create in Clara Studio back into FileMaker, ultimately improving the user experience. So it's fantastic. So let me just switch back. And you can you can share it publicly, or you can just share it with your team. That's again. So the downside is the data is all hosted in the States. It's all hosted on AWS. So for clients, enterprise clients that have, requirements for keeping client data in Canada, this may not be an appropriate, you might not be able to use this. So you'd have to use WebDirect, because WebDirect, your server can be hosted in a Canadian location, on your location, whereas this data, wouldn't meet your privacy or confidentiality requirements. But it's still great for, 99% of, the other things you might want to do. Okay, and I'll just show you how it links to FileMaker. So in the Manage Database view, which you may or may not be familiar with, you just click here on the Add a Table. And because I've signed in to Claris, I've signed into my Claris ID, my Claris data area inside Claris Studio shows up, and it's called Neocode. So I don't add a FileMaker data source. I don't add an ODBC. Instead, I pick this one, which will only show up when I've signed in. And then in here, all of my data tables in Clara Studio show up, and that's what I did. So, and then this is again, what's new in 20 is the sign in and sign out of the Claris ID. So you would just go to the Claris ID area and create your free account. And then you'd get all of your staff to do that as well. If you wanted to use the Claris Studio, everybody would have a Claris ID. Okay, so that's what's new in That's the key, exciting, amazing thing for 20. We've talked about auditing. Okay, so integration. That's the next exciting area. So OData is the 2020, 2023 version of ODBC. ODBC is slow. It uses old drivers. It's it's great if that's the only way that you can access data. We still have clients with very old databases, and it's fantastic because we can get data out of out of those old systems. But OData is the future, and I've got a little sample I can show you. I put it. Sorry. Maybe I moved it. Just give me a second. Okay, so I built I have a log inside my FileMaker system, our internal. So this is before audit logging. So this is just so I can track who's running, what script, how long things are taking. Because sometimes perform script on servers take a long time, and it's nice to see how long they take. And so I made a OData integration, an OData link between this and into Excel, because pivot tables. Excel still the best for doing pivot tables. That's one thing that FileMaker, isn't doing. And I can do that here. And when I go to data, I can do launch Power Query. So some people, love Power Query, and this is what it looks like. So I can pull data from my FileMaker server using OData. There's tons of online support. Tons of companies support OData, and you can learn how to code in it. And you can apply multiple steps. So I'm filtering here the data set to just a certain date range. I'm removing a column that I don't want to see. These 3 columns, I just delete them so they don't get imported. And then I'm splitting one column in FileMaker. That column is separated. It is, sorry. What field is it? It is last window exit. So you can see this one field, this one column has multiple values in it. And in Excel, I want them to show up as new columns. So in Power Query, I can write this query, and it's going to take that one column and split it into 4 columns with the individual values. And it's going to call it, column 1, 2, 3, 4. So close and load, and then refresh all. And it's pulling all the data. I don't want to do a new one. I think it should be refresh all. Oh, running background query. Yeah. So we're seeing these values because in the Power Query, I told it I only wanted to see the 9th month. So I can change it to show me October and then close and load. Get data. Oh, I keep clicking that. So close and then running query in the background. And now I'm getting all my October data. Yeah. Okay. So this is a great integration. FileMaker Data API is old. The next thing they've done is they've made Claris Connect free. So we have a free tier. And with that free tier, it's here. You can go and get it right now. And it'll link to FileMaker, but I'm actually using it separately just to connect Zoom with Slack. So we use Slack internally for chatting. And I created a channel in my Slack for the Zoom webinar. So every time somebody registered for the Zoom webinar, I had Claris Connect post it to my Slack chat so I could see, how registrations were coming and also who was registered. So I'll just show you what that looks like. And again, this is the free version. So this is my dashboard inside Claris Connect. And I created this one, and we can edit it. And it'll run when Zoom, you link it to Zoom. And so when Zoom gets a registration, Zoom pushes data to Claris Connect. So Zoom pushes it to Claris Connect, and then Claris Connect pushes it to Slack. So here we can see edit. So in this one, the first step was I linked it to Zoom. So I went into here, I connect Claris to my Zoom account by authenticating with my Zoom credentials. And Zoom says, do you want to allow Claris Connect access to your Zoom account? And I say yes. And then the second step was to add Slack. And it's the same question. Do you want to configure, do you want to allow Claris Connect to have access to your Slack account? And it's a little more involved in this one because I'm telling Claris Connect how to post the message into Slack. And so I pick the channel that I want. It gives me a list of the channels to pick. These are the channels inside Slack. And then it allows me to configure the message. So I want to have topic, start time, etc., etc. So if we switch to Slack, you can see the format of the, sorry, let me just, so you can see here, it's exactly the same format. So you do have to, the very last one, we get email, right? And then we can put an image in there if we want. I'm not using attachments, but this is something that I was able to configure in 10, 15 minutes. Totally free. Of course, I could integrate this with FileMaker, but it's already useful out of the box without, using FileMaker. So again, that's super helpful for improving the user experience. And we get access to all these other options. So if you use Google Drive, DocuSign, Outlook, MailChimp, this is just a small list. They have like over 200 different integrations that you can pick. The key thing is the free tier allows you to have 500 interactions. So 500 things, and then after that, you'd go to the paid tier. But it's a great It's a great start. Totally. So they're thinking outside the desktop. They're not just thinking about FileMaker Pro. They're thinking about all the things that a user needs to do from the Clara Studio, how we can interact with people on the web, to other programs that FileMaker Pro needs to connect to in order to create a complete solution from beginning to end. Oh, this, I actually dragged the slide out of order, but this is just a screenshot showing the difference between what a FileMaker view would look like and how amazing that same data looks in Clara Studio. So something that we couldn't imagine before is now possible. These, like a timeline view, a calendar view, the Kanban view, it's amazing. It's really great. So this is the, time for questions. Um, just I put some notes in here that I couldn't place anywhere else, but FileMaker's done a lot in terms of bug fixing, improving, not just adding new features, but improving the stability of the system. And the online community, which if you're not a part of um, and you're looking at doing development, definitely sign up, get an account. That's your Claris community. And it's amazing how quickly people will will answer your questions. So I was having an issue with Claris Connect. I was trying to connect Claris Connect to my FileMaker server, and I made a rookie mistake. And I got feedback like within 2 hours. They asked me, did you do this, this, this? And there's like, I forgot to do the third thing. So you'll see, I just picked a question at random. Somebody asked something, whenever, a couple of days ago, and they're answering them right away and continuing to provide feedback. So those 30,000 people are there to help you. Calculation questions, script questions, but overall scope questions. I'm thinking about building this. I'm thinking about building that. So they'll answer really high level ones and they'll answer really detailed ones. So that's why I put that into the question area. So any questions about FileMaker, Claris Connect, Claris Studio?